Hello, welcome to the London Coffee Fringe. My name is Darren Reeves. I'm going to be trying to undertake a Aeropress challenge. That challenge is to make as many of the recipes in the next hour from the 2017 World Aeropress Championships. Now in here, there are about 55 recipes. I'm guessing that I won't get most of them done, but we'll see. I'm going to see if I was going to go through alphabetically, but I think I'm going to poodle around at random now and see how far I get. So thank you for watching. Just a few things I'd like to point out first of all is that I've been very kindly given the coffee from the people at Bloss Coffee. They're a roaster down in Kent, quite near to my home in South London. What they've given me today to share with you is a coffee from Myanmar. Very interested in the coffee from Myanmar, not least because of the struggles that Myanmar are having at the moment, and it takes a lot to get the coffee out of the country. And Bloss have teamed up with a importer, Indochina, to bring this coffee to you. It's a good coffee as well for this particular thing, because it's straight down the middle, nothing too funky about it, nothing too strange about it. In terms of brightness, body, fruit, herbal, floral taste, it comes in kind of bang down the middle. So I'm not going to be trying to find something that's not there. So I think it's a good coffee for this. So some of the Aeropress Championships that when I took part in the Aeropress Championship in London in 2019 as a complete and utter amateur, the coffee that was provided then by Ozone was a fantastic coffee, but very, very funky, and took a long time to draw the best out of it. But this coffee seems a good one for today. It's straight down the middle, so we'll see where we get with it. Going through the book, everybody has used a different recipe, very, very diverse. And to be honest, I think I'm doing James Hoffman a favour. I'm making all the recipes that he could do for his subscribers all in one go. Whether his method matches any of these is, I'm sure we're all on tenterhooks still waiting to find out. So let's get going with the first coffee. It's from the Austrian Aeropress champion of 2017, Matthias Schechner. I suspect he's not watching, but if he is, hi Matthias. And he's a straight up inverted coffee maker. Quite a lot of coffee in this particular first brew. It's at the top end of what I've seen in the book. So he's using 30 grams of coffee. I'm just going to start off by rinsing my paper. He's using paper filters, and the coffee temperature that he's chosen to use is 85 grams, which I've already 85 degrees, which I've already got set up and brewed and heated up on my kettle. Commandant have been very kind. They put me in contact with Brewed by Hand. So I've got a hold of a Commandant grinder. I've just had it for a couple of days now. So I've been very, very impressed with the brews whilst I've been testing. I've been getting out of it. The coffee grind is very uniform. Just to say about the grind, in the annuals they just give a range of 1 to 10, 1 being the finest, 10 going coarsest, and they say nothing else about in terms of what the Commandant grinder might be, how many clicks it is. So I've had this a couple of days and done a few tests. I've used a brewer just to check out my grind sizes. It's been very useful. So across the whole range of the the Commandant. I've just been able to maybe dial in my grinds a little bit for the number of clicks on a Commandant. I'm going in the range, I'm working from number 1, the finest, which is going to be 8 clicks on my Commandant, up to the courses, which is number 10, 32. Now the Aeropress seems to, when I've been testing it, seems to sit in a range, the best range that I've found over my short bit of period of testing, on 16 to 24 clicks. So I'm using that as 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 as a comparison against what the Aeropress is reporting in the annual for 2017. So what I'm going to try to talk through this and read at the same time, and see where we get to. So Matthias wants me to add 120 grams of water for 10 seconds. See if I can get that. That was a faster pause than I thought it was going to be. Stir gently for a whole 15 seconds, which is going to take me up to 35 seconds. He wants me to and then my very first London Coffee Festival Fringe plunge. Take about 30 seconds over that. And I've got a hiss, which he suggests I stop. Now, for my first coffee, actually this is going to be a dilution because I've only got about 85 grams of coffee, of brewed coffee in here, which I'm going to now top up. Almost bang on. And then I'm going to top up that with another 200 grams. We're up to 200 grams. This is a bit, I think by the end of the day I'll be dreading. I'm going to try to taste every coffee. Considering I've already had 3 this morning, this could be quite dangerous to my heart, I suppose, but here goes. That's strong, quite dark, but I'm getting quite a lot of the fruit that I was expecting and have had under my normal brew conditions. Shall I slurp? I'm not sure. Slurping or no slurping? I think I'll leave out the slurping. Well, that was different from the brews that I've been making by myself at home. So I'm quite pleased with that. I'm going to nip straight over to China. And this is going to be quite unusual because this is going to be as fine can be. Getting this 30 grams. Of coffee. And everything about this brew, because it's so fine, it's kind of suggesting that I'm not going to like it. I can't imagine dialing this right back to its finest grind. You're going to have to just bear with me while I'm sure this makes for great viewing. But thank you all for turning up. It makes a completely amateur coffee maker broadcasting from his kitchen in South London very happy. There we go. Just bear with me while I clear up. For this one, looking for 83 degrees. And he has gone for an upright. Now I suspect the upright method of brewing has gone a bit out of fashion now. Certainly when I went to the Aeropress Championships in London for the World Championships, I would say I didn't see one person at all using the upright method. It seems like everybody by then had switched to the inverted method. I'm not saying, I don't know which is better. Don't think I've got a view on it at the moment, but this will be interesting. So the coffee is very, very fine. So my hoping is kind of fighting against that. But we'll see. And the Chinese champion, if you're watching, thank you for tuning in, is Qing Dongyi. He came out top amongst, well, it looks about 36 competitors, which is quite a lot. Compared to some of the rounds. Here goes. 150 grams of water. Now leave that for 35 seconds. He wants me to give it a stir. And then the instruction is to wait. And again, I'm sure that makes a great watching. But what else would you rather be doing on a Sunday morning as we come out of lockdown than watching literally coffee dripping out of the bottom of an Aeropress? I'm already enjoying it. Hope you are. And I am there. And actually, I'm going to plunge the rest of this coffee out because, again, he's gone for a dilution method. If he doesn't say so, I'm just going to always do it to the hiss, just because. Let me see. I have to apologise to Queen Dong Ki because I think I pressed a little bit too quick for his method. Should have been about 40 seconds. And I'm going to bring it up to 200. Let's see. I'm sure when, well, I know that normally when we have the Aeropress Championships, the coffees are really left quite a long time afterwards while the judges get ready, and I suspect the temperature must drop in the coffee by a good 10-15 degrees before they drink it. Wow. I suppose this is one of the things, prepared to be surprised. I thought this would be, in my head, I thought with the fine grinds, I just thought it would be a bit disgusting, really. But actually, if I got that in a cafe somewhere, if I got it in a specialty coffee cafe, I'd be very happy with that. So, all my expectations. I suppose the thing is, don't judge a book by its cover. And if I ever get to take part in an Aeropress Championship again, I think, well, at least as a starting point, I'd give it a go. So I'm on to 3 sips, so I must like it. Excellent. Thank you, Queen Dong Gi. That's enlightened. Next off, I'm going to go pop over to Estonia. And the winner in Estonia, Laura Valley. If you just give me a little time to clear up and start again. If you're worried about my coffee pucks, everything's going for recycling afterwards. I'm trying not to waste anything. This will go to compost. I'm not a fan at all of wasting coffee, wasting resources, but we'll do our best. Just going to dial in my grind size. Just give my my grinder a clean. And we are looking at, very, very precise. We're looking at 20.4 grams of coffee. Now, I'm sure that must be something to do with the absolute coffee that they had on offer in Estonia at the time. That seems very precise. I'm using a Myanmar coffee. They were using coffee from Burundi. I'm trying to be very accurate here and follow it as closely as I can. 20.4. And I must say already, the coffee from Amblos is holding up very well. It's not doing anything out of the ordinary. 2 grinds, 2 brews, completely different. And both with excellent results. So having chatted to Luke down at Amblos, I think he was spot on. It's a great coffee. and it seems a very middling coffee. That there's nothing disagreeable about that, and I think it's fine for this task. Just bear me with Sorry, I'm just going to stop and put my water on so that's ready. I'm using filter water, not least because the water here in London is awful, at least for coffee. If you're making soup or pasta, I wouldn't worry. But for my coffee tastes, it's really low. It really is worth using decent water. Just because of volumes I'm going through, I'm using bottled water for this little experiment. Normally, sorry to stop mid-sentence. Normally I'm using my pig water, which has been a revelation. But today it's bottled water. So pig water really does take all the flatness and fuzziness off London water. And is to be highly recommended, or at least by me. Right, here we go again. So Laura used the preferred inverted method. She actually used a hand grinder, a Paul X1. Now, it seems to me that in this annual, there's quite a few different grinders being used. But I think in more recent years, that the grinders used in competition kind of coalesced around the EK43 and the Commandant. I'd like to have got my hands on an EK43, but I don't even think it would fit in my kitchen. But the Commandant certainly seems to be the grinder of choice, not least because it does exactly no fines. When I put it through a crude sifter, very few fines. And if you're interested, I'll put up some pictures of the grind sizes on my Instagram later. If you're not interested, you don't have to have a look, but the grind size working from the 1 to 10 to a Commandant was very interesting. Trying to work it out. I hope I've done it justice. This one's so Laura has been very specific about where and how to stir the coffee. So all the coffee goes in. And that's a little bit. And she wants me to stir twice in a north to south movement. So I'm guessing that's that. But only twice. Very precise. And at 1 minute 10. I'm going to flip, and at 1:15, I'm going to start pressing. So while we're waiting for that, if you interested, I'm also trying to raise a bit of awareness for a not-for-profit down in South London who are training baristas. There's a donate button on the website, all linked up in my description below this feed. If any of you would like to or can give. So they're training up baristas. Sorry, I really shouldn't try to do everything, two things at once. Finish at 1:45, seems about right. Now I'm going to be really doing Laura a disservice here, in as much as she wants me to do this swirling motion for 3 minutes. Now, I think that's a bit too much trying for, I think that's a bit too dull for anybody's life. If you gave me a good cup of coffee every time, I might be prepared to do it. But she wants 3 minutes of this, and then leave it in a cup. Oh, well, I'm not sure about the cooling, but that feels, to my mouth anyway, it's gone very dry, which I'm not, is that the acid? Which I'm not adverse to. And again, this is what freaks me out a little bit about how different the coffee can be. I made 3 coffees so far, all of them very, very drinkable. Now, if you're a judge on these things, how do you know? I'm sure their palates are much more refined than mine are, and they'll be able to detect loads of differences. With that one, the only pronounced thing was that I was getting loads of acid, and it's literally left me with a very, very dry mouthfeel. Nothing unpleasant about it, just different. I'm going to pop over to Indonesia. Love some Indonesian coffee, but we've got our Myanmar coffee from Anblos. Check them out if you can. And this is a winning recipe from Indonesia, made by Damaring Pika Wari. If you're watching, it's nice to see you. If you're not, oh, I will try to remember. Somebody's put on the chat, what's the water temperatures? As I go along, they're bobbing all over the place. So this one, this one's going to be at 88 degrees C. So far, I think I've had, it's gone from 83 up to, I think this is the highest temperature so far. Certainly nothing over 90 at the moment. But thank you for asking. And I will try to give a bit more taste description. It's not my best thing. As I said, I'm a complete amateur who just loves coffee. I think the most I could say most of the time is that I can tell the difference between good coffee and bad coffee. And if the flavours are particularly pronounced, I can usually pull those out. But other than that, bear with me, just as being a complete and utter amateur. And the Maring is asking for 25 grams of coffee. So 25 grams of coffee. He's gone in terms of fineness to coarseness. He's gone for it's recorded as a 4, which means I'm going to go for 16 clicks on my Commandant. So I must try to remember to use, and you must have noticed in all coffee videos at the moment, everyone's given their coffee a fine mist. Because I'm guessing this would be obvious really, but I'm getting a lot of static. So maybe I should give this a go. I think it's supplied with every coffee. Just a fine mist on that one. Have an errant bean. And while I grind, I'll just say thank you to my family for rocking up to watch. I suspect they looks like they could be the majority of the people tuning in at the moment. But whoever you are, it's nice to see you. I've had to throw my family at least out of the kitchen while I do this. So I'm very grateful to them. Fantastic. So the marring has gone for an upright method, and I don't know why that always ends up confusing me, because inverted has just become the way that we do things. So say the water's up to about 88. Coffee goes in, and if ever the proof was in the pudding, the fines have gone from, the static has gone from completely smothering the ring of my jar to absolutely nothing, which I'm really surprised about. Anyway, so we can have 50 grams of water. Bloom for 25 seconds. And then I'm going to stir it gently for 5 times. I love how these recipes are also precise. I certainly know when I took part in the Aeropress Championships in London in 2019, the UK Championships. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I spent hours poring over different ways of making the coffee. I don't think, obviously I didn't win, so I didn't get anywhere near the perfect perfect recipe. But it was very interesting, even just for me then, trying to get the best out of some beans that I'd never seen before. Before I got slightly freaked out by actually being in the competition, and I was with people who were actually making their own water recipes. I'd only been using tap water at the time. Just going to give this a stir 3 times. Now, Damarin says, check for a sweet aroma. Not sure. Anyway, it smells nice. But here goes. Oh. No, he says press for 1 minute 30 using just your thumb and forefingers. Wowza. Well, Damaring, that's some technique. I don't think I've got anywhere near plunging for that long. But that must have taken a bit of practice at the time. Now my water's gone down to 80, which is just fine to top up. Let's see. Cheers, Damaring. His final instruction is serve and share with a friend. Well, it would be nice to be able to do that. So again, this has come out quite dry. But strangely, I'm getting a lot of nuttiness, which I've not had in my other cups. As you can see, I seem to be enjoying all of these. Certainly drinking more than I thought I would. I thought I'd sip and then move on. I'm going to be slightly wired by the end of this, but hey ho. Let's see where we'll head to next. So I'm going to head to Northern Ireland and Nick Wright. Hi Nick, if you're watching. I suspect not. Who knows? Are all my children still there? Probably. If my wife is out with her friends, I just want to point out to Benjamin, who drew this picture of me. Here, thanks Benjamin. It's up in our kitchen. So, Nick, down near something that I understand a bit more. He's down to 15 grams of coffee. So this is the lowest we've been at. So those big numbers in terms of weight. Don't know about you, I don't normally use anything near that. I think it's going to be something I might have a look at. He's gone for a grind, which is on the scale of 1 to 10 is 6. So I'm going to make that 20 clicks on my Commandant. Just bear with me while I just dial that in. All I'm feeling at the moment is that I know I'm no James Hoffman, not least because he has the world watching. I have two men and a dog, I think. Although I have my good friend Luca, he's been very kind. He said he's watching a master at work. If you ever want to check out a master at work, check out Luca's dad, who is Alessandro Palazzi. Look him up on Instagram. Master cocktail maker, and his videos are great. So that's Alessandro Palazzi, and he really does make good videos. Unlike me, just muddling through. Just bear with me while I top up my water. And again, this is 80. It's going to go to 88 degrees. So that's interesting to me because when I've normally make an Aeropress, I'm often quite a lot hotter than that. I don't know about you, I'm normally at somewhere in the low 90s. Hi Wilf Magnuson. So again, just flicking through, this is an upright method. As I say, I think times have changed. I suspect if most people, until James Hoffman tells everybody otherwise, will be using the inverted method at home. So while I'm just waiting for that to come to temperature, if you do feel so inclined, check out the links in the description below. I'm using some great coffee that's been kindly supplied to me by and Bloss, a great roaster down in Kent. If you're ever around, it's a great place to go and sit and have a coffee in the middle of the countryside. Fantastic place to go. They're always happy to chat. Coffees they bang out are delicious. And as I say, this one particularly is from Myanmar. You can see all the profiles are straight down the middle, so nothing too funky, but a good straight down the middle coffee to enjoy in the morning without worrying too much about chasing flavour all over the place. So here we go, upright again. Do you know what I'm wishing? I'm wishing I practiced more using the upright method, because I don't seem to have much muscle memory about it. Marvellous. So it's 15 grams of coffee. So I am on 30 grams of water. For a 30-second bloom. Now, Nick, when he was making his coffee, was using the K43. So as I've said, I've tried to translate all my brew sizes using the Brewler, the Cruise Brewler. Tried converting all my coffee grinds just by comparison using that. Again, just say I'm no coffee expert. I'm not a barista, but I've tried my best. So we get another 125 grams of water. It's amazing that the upright method really does allow you to get more water in. I'm just going to rest that until the 130 mark. And no stirring here, but Nick wants me at 130, which I've just reached, to take out the plunger. And then just break any crust that is formed. It does say with a cupping spoon, but I don't have one to hand. And plunge for 45 to 50 seconds. So another slow plunge. And I've not really considered the difference between a fast plunge and a slower plunge. But if I remember rightly, and I'm sure they'll be able to correct me if I'm wrong, I think the guys at Right Roast, made a video at some point about a slow plunge compared to a fast plunge. So maybe you'd like to check that out at some point. I think I might after this, having never thought about it before. And again, I think this is fairly standard instruction because most people want their coffee to be a bit cooler than I'm drinking it at. And as you probably know, letting it cool always makes the flavours develop a bit more. So sorry, Nick, if I'm doing you an injustice by drinking it straight off the bat. Ooh. So that's gone over to the fruity side, and I'm not sure if it's in the descriptors of this coffee, the coffee that I've been given from Bloss, but that has got striking honey notes in it. And putting it to my nose, I can almost smell the honey. Yeah, still drinking more than I feel I should, but I really like this. Thanks, Nick. Very nice. And a new flavour in there. Just want to say hello to my daughter. She's sitting watching in Newquay on the beach, probably. Hi, Hex. Hi, Logan. Hi, Tate. Hi, Anya. I think I'm going to pop over to Russia and see where we go from there. Just bear with me while I have a bit of a clear up and a reset. I need to get some more water. So just bottled water for me today. I haven't used bottled water at home for a long time, but it just seemed the most efficient today to get things going and getting everything done. So Anastasia Savlovskaya, 2017 Russian Aeropress champion. She used the inverted method, so we're back in my comfort zone. We're using 16 grams of coffee. 15 grams of coffee, 90 degrees on the water, and quite relatively fine grind. So I'm going for 16 clicks. So let me just check that, 16 clicks. So in terms of 1 to 10, that was 4. So say, just through my own testing, I've established that to be 16 clicks on the commandant grinder. Time is flying for me. I'm not sure it is for everybody else. As I say, I try to put some pictures on my Instagram, just of the grind size that I'm using, if anybody's interested. Well, Anastasia is very precise. She wants the plunger set at the 4 mark on the Aeropress. I'm not even sure I have got it, but these are very, very, very worn out numbers. Don't know what version of the Aeropress I've got, but it's really quite old. Start the timer, 50 grams of water. Unless it says so, I'm just going to pour as quickly as I can and stir for 15 seconds. I think that does it. 40-second mark. The remaining water, so it's 40. Going. Up to 230. Now, Anastasia doesn't want me to do a lot until 1 minute 30. Just wants it to stand there. Until the 1:30 mark. While I'm just waiting for that, do take a look at the links down below in my description for the people who've supported me doing this, and I'm very grateful to them. So, and Bloss, brewed by hand, and Commandant. And also, this is going to be a minutes press. And also, if you wouldn't mind taking a look at the Peak Academy, it's a barista school that's being set up and run in South London to help people back into employment, to give people self-worth. If there's a takeaway from this, it's that. If there's a takeaway for me, it's that long presses are not something I'm particularly used to. Anastasia wants me to give this a good swirl. give it a go. It's not bad, but this one, there's certainly something missing from it that was certainly more pronounced than the other. It's almost like I have made it with London water. It seems a bit flat. I'm not getting much in my mouth. Probably haven't done that justice, Anastasia, so I apologise. Hey-ho. Can't win them all. So I'm only meant to be doing this for an hour. How many have I done out of the 50? I think I've only done about 5. So that's a shock to me in itself. But I do recommend that if you're interested, that you do get hold of one of these Aeropress annuals. I think there's 2 now. I think they did the year before. And this one. Maybe I should make it a little project. Maybe what I should do to give it justice is, maybe, if you don't mind, I'll just skip to maybe I'll do the last 3, and it'll be the 3rd place, 2nd place, and 1st place recipe from the 2017 Aeropress Championship in Seoul in Korea. Not least because the winner came from England, Paulina. But I think I'll go straight to the 3rd place recipe, which was on Yongsu Park from South Korea. Obviously, at this stage, when they got to this stage of the competition, they're all using the same water. In this case, it's filtered water provided by Brita. And it seems like all 3 recipes are using the EK43. Slightly out of my range. But as I said, I've tried to convert all those grind settings to the Commandant, and it seems to be working okay for me at the moment. So let's give the 3rd place recipe a go. We're back to quite a heavy dose, at least in terms of what I would normally brew. So 30 grams of this coffee that's come from Myanmar. It's proving to be, as the roasters at Anne Bloss told me, it's very, very nice coffee. To call it middle of the road would be a bit unfair, but it's straight down the middle, and it's proven that. I think it's a coffee I would literally really, really happily turn to for my morning coffee every day. So just bear with me while I get set up. Now, somebody called Logan has asked if all these recipes are just for 1 cup of coffee. So Logan, yes, they are for 1 cup of coffee. The Aeropress isn't, unless you want small cups of coffee, then you could have 2 cups of coffee, Logan. Big cups of coffee, Logan? Just the 1 cup. Tell you what, come round, I'll make you a cup of coffee one day. So for Yongzhou Park, he is using the upright method. And for the first time, luckily I have my filter here. He's using a paper and a metal and a paper filter. I've certainly gone through different iterations of what I use, and to be honest, most days now, if I'm making an Aeropress, I just use a couple of paper filters. Again, I'm sure once James Hoffman tells everybody what to do, we'll get some kind of clarity on what everybody will start using. Hi James, if you're watching. I suspect not. You're probably at the hairdressers. So this is going to be brewed at 86 degrees. And this is bad for my eyesight, but it's suddenly the writing has suddenly gone white on black. So I hope I can see it properly. 75 grams of water. Good 5 stirs. And wait until the 45-second mark. And again, this is going to be a dilution method. So I'm making a coffee extract and then diluting that down in the end in the cup. Another 75. Does that take me to 150? I think it does. Another 5 stirs. And let that brew for a minute. So while I'm waiting for that to happen, thank you to everybody who's managed to get up on a Sunday morning and tuned in. I've enjoyed myself. I hope somebody else has. I would suggest you just take a look at the Anblos coffee site, and the link is down below in my description. Great roaster out in Kent, doing great things, like what they're doing muchly. Now, this is asked for a quick press. That about is as quick as I can get it. Dilute with 150 grams. Again, I think it's a thing that I've seen change in the world of Aeropress, certainly in the world of Aeropress competitions. There's a lot of extracts being made and then diluting down. And I'm sure that works for people who've got very good palates. Well, this one I think I really would like it to cool down. It's a bit too hot for me to drink right now. Is it a third place cup of coffee? We'll see. Let's do the other two. So I'm going to have a sip again. It's funny because literally as it's cooling down, it's getting brighter. But maybe that's because it's scalded my mouth straight away. Not bad at all. In second place in 2017 from Japan was Yuzuki Narasawa. Yuzuki, if you're watching, thank you for tuning in. I suspect you're not. I suspect you're in bed. So Yuzuki goes really coarse on his grind. Again, he used an EK43. So we're juxtaposing the Commandant settings onto an EK43. Anyway, I'm going to do 30 clicks. Just going to have a tidy up. So it was on 18. Well, that's going to be really quite coarse when it comes out. And we've got a very precise 29.5 grams of coffee. And I realise this is a very imprecise science. All these recipes are literally tuned into a specific coffee with a specific water at a specific time. This is more of a thought experiment more than anything else. More of a muscle memory experiment. And, quite coarse and very high temperature. So we're up to 95 for this one. So just excuse me while I grind. It's funny, going up to that high number of clicks, there's hardly any resistance on the grinder. Now Yuzuki, he uses the inverted method, which for some reason I just feel more comfortable with. And actually, he does what I tend to do. He uses 2 filter papers. No flash papers for me, I'm just using papers as supplied by Aeropress. So nothing unusual. I'd like to try some other papers, but never got round to it. So that is very coarse. I really wouldn't normally use coffee this coarse, so it's quite interesting for me, at least. $70 grams of water. and very precisely stir 20 times. Another 100 grams of water. And brew for a minute. As I say, I've been very surprised and very grateful that people have been willing to reach out and help me. So to Brewed by Hand, thank you very much. To Commandant, thank you very much for setting me up with Brewed by Hand. To Anne Bloss, thank you for taking the time to host me at your roastery and to provide me with the coffee. If anybody's looking for a good morning coffee, something that you're going to be able to literally get up in the morning, put in the brew of your choice. I don't think you could go far wrong with this one. From Myanmar, Myanmar struggles at the moment with internal conflict. Getting coffee, growing coffee there, getting out of the country must be a really big deal. So I'm really happy to be able to use that today. So, Mr. Narasawa. So let's give it a little flip. Wait for 30 seconds until the 150 mark. Again, he's going to dilute his coffee, so I'm going to do that as well. We're at 150. And I'm going to add 70 grams of water. Sorry. Set. Again, I'm a bit worried about the how hot this is, but just got to give it a go. Well, totally different. This is got very zingy. It's got very bright. Again, I'm getting a bit of the honey sugariness back. And if I said something, it's a bit of something like jasmine tea or something. Who knows? That is nice. Thank you, Yusuki from Japan. I'm enjoying that muchly. I might return to that method just for my home brewing. And we get to seriously, I thought I'd get a lot further than this. I've already gone over time. I think numbers are dropping off now. Probably only got my family watching at this point. But I'm going to now attempt to brew the 2017 winning recipe, but from Paulina Mishka. And as fate would have it, if I remember rightly, Paulina is also a potter, and via a Kickstarter, she started producing coffee mugs. I just happen to have Paulina's coffee mug here. She did it as a Kickstarter, got her pottery up and running up in Scotland, I think. So I've got Paulina's award-winning recipe, and her very delightful award-winning cup. I'm sure you can find Paulina online if you need to. I'm sure she'd be glad of any business you could send her way. Anyway, we're back up to a high dose of coffee. And we're up to 35 grams, which out of all the coffees I brewed this morning, this is by far the most. And if you look at the story of the 2017 Aeropress Championship, you'll see that Paulina was actually knocked out in one of the early rounds. Got a second chance in some kind of lottery of all the competitors that had been knocked out already. So she'd been knocked out. I don't know if she adjusted her brew in the meantime, but she got a place back in the into the latter stages of the competition, and then somehow managed to win over the judges with her recipe. This is still quite coarsely ground. It's gone down to 8 on the scale, which I think is 24 clicks. So what was I on? I was on 30. Click it finer. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So her water is a relatively pleasant 84. I think 84 is where a lot of people might be. So in 2017, they were using a Kenyan coffee. All the winning competitors anyway seem to use EK43. And I suspect a little bit that's gone out of fashion since those intervening years. I certainly first came to notice Commodore hand grinders when everybody was using them, and I literally mean everybody was using them at the 2019 London round of the World Aeropress Championships. Paulina, gratefully, is quite straightforward in her inverted method, just a paper filter. Can I just say, I love how that jar just fits literally in the top. It's like someone designed it that way, which I'm sure they have. So Paulina is very, very precise about everything. She must have had some kind of really excellent muscle memory to pull this off. So let's see, 150 grams over a straight 15 seconds. Nearly got there in 16 seconds, so that's not bad. Stir. and keep stirring for 20 seconds. I've always found and always thought agitation was the key with Aeropress making. Check out James Hoffman's videos. I'm sure he'll have a view on stirring. Stir for 20 seconds. Place filter and wait precisely until 1 minute 5. Flip and start pressing. At 1 minute 35, I should be done. Again, this is an extract that's going to be diluted down. There we go, and I think I've got most of the coffee out of that. Now, this is something I think could become more in vogue over time, and what Paulina's asking to do, and probably or would have done herself, is to she would have checked the TDS to see. I haven't got a fractometer here. I don't think I'd invest in one, but I should be bringing this up. I'm going to bring it up to so if you've got a fractometer and want to check how concentrated the brew is, I had about 90 millilitres in, to which I've added about 160, although she gives a range through her tasting of 160 to 200. So here's an award-winning Aeropress recipe in the award winner's cup to finish off my not award-winning live stream, my first one and probably one of my last. And that's super. I'm going to go back and see which one I actually preferred. I've put a few notes in my book as I've been going along. This is great though. Probably worth all the fuss. It's really, really well rounded. I'm getting sweet. Definitely getting some nutty vibes. I'm not a big fan of chocolate, and there's chocolate notes, and there's not a lot of chocolate in this. Seriously, if you're in the market for some coffee, I can't recommend this enough. I don't think you'll be displeased with whatever way you choose to brew it. They're great people doing great work down in Kent. As I say, if you feel so inclined, take a look at Peak Academy, something close to my heart down in South London, running a course to get people back into employment and to give them a self of self-worth. The Peak Academy working in South London in Deptford. They'll be glad of anything that you might want to give. So just to say thank you to Brew by Hand. Thank you to Commandant, which you all know about. Thank you to Anne Bloss, who I think you probably don't know about, but certainly worth checking out. And thank you to Peak Academy for all the work you're doing in South London. If you stayed with me all the time, thank you. For anybody who's joined and left, thank you. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.